All right, we're going to talk about our second section today. We're going to do 4.16, and it's going to be talking about the distributive property. Distributive property. The distributive property is a useful tool for remembering how to multiply over quantities. And I want to talk about what it looks like and how we're going to apply it for this lesson. So the distributive property looks like this. It says that if I take a number and I multiply it by something in a quantity, b plus c, I can't just multiply it by the first one, I can't just multiply it by the second one, but instead I have to multiply it by both. So I end up with AB plus AC. Okay? And this is going to come and become useful in a lot of ways. And it's a property that you use a lot in algebra and in calculus, and as you go through your math, it's something that happens often. For example, let's take a look at something like this. If I say 5 times 2 plus 3, and I'm going to use the distributive property, I can rewrite this like this. I can say that this 5 times quantity 2 plus 3 is the same as 5 times 2 plus 5 times 3. All I've done is I've taken this 5 and I've distributed it over the quotation, over the parentheses. Okay? So I can also do this another way. If I have all my numbers, I can just add first order of operations, and I can have 5 times 5. Let's see if they're the same. 5 times 5 is 25. This would be 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15, which gets me to 25. So the question is, why would I do the distributive property if it's way more complicated than just doing the math? Well, you'll see in a little bit. Let's take a look at an example. Karen is planning a field trip. And there are 50 people going on the field trip. Move this up a little bit. We have 50 people on the field trip, and there is $5 for the bus, $4.50 for lunch, and $3 for the t-shirt. Looks like the t-shirt is not optional. Everyone must get a t-shirt. So, well, hope it's a good t-shirt. And the question is, how can we write this as a numerical expression relating to the money that we've got? Okay, so each person is going to have to pay for the bus, for the lunch, and for the t-shirt. Their cost is going to be 5 plus $4.50 plus 3, right? And what I need then to do is multiply this times 50 to get my total number that I have got. And I can solve this two ways. I can add all of this up first and then multiply out here. But what starts to happen is if, for example, I don't know the number that I'm going to have for my t-shirt, so it could be $3, could be $4, I'll have to wait and see until I get there. So instead of $3, say that it costs X for my t-shirt. I'm not sure what it's going to be. We'll see when we get there. Then I would have to write my problem like this. I would have to say it's $50 times $5 for the bus plus $4.50 for lunch plus X. And if I want to distribute this out later, now I can't add all of these things up because I have an X in there. It's different, and I have different rules that I need to follow. And that's going to be the key, is when I start to have a variable expression instead of just a regular expression. There's a lot more things I have to watch out for. Let's take a look at some examples. So first, we're going to talk about just using the distributive property over this. And for these problems, they're not going to be asking you to find the answer. They're going to be asking you to simplify using the distributive property. So let's see what that means. Example 1. If they say, simplify this. 6 times 5 plus 2, or 6 times quantity, 5 plus 2. I could simplify this and turn it into 7, 6 times 7, but that's not what I want to do in this case. I just want to simplify it using the distributive property, so instead it would look like this. 6 times 5 plus 6 times 2. And that's it. I'm done. I have simplified using the distributive property, because all I'm doing is practicing using it. Example 2. It goes like this. I have 3 times quantity, x minus 5. So now this time, notice, I do have a minus, so I need to make sure to carry that over into what I'm doing afterwards. So this, I'm going to say 3 times x is 3x minus 3 times 5. Now, of course, I could write 5 times 3. It doesn't really matter. But as long as these two are multiplied in this term. And this is simplified. Let's try another one. Make sure I don't run out of space here. 8, 9 plus y. Okay, simplify using distributive property. 8 times 9 plus 8y. Make sense? I hope so. This is kind of a little bit of a weird property that you might not use a lot, but this is how it goes. Let me do one quick more example, and I'll do it over here because I have some space, because these are pretty small. If I don't have any numbers at all, I could have a problem like this. X times quantity y plus z. And I can do this the same way. This would be xy plus xz. All right. Good luck.